you know what gives me the audacity to think I could beat all these other people? I'm gonna have to believe in myself and just say, you know what, I'm gonna figure it out.
Now, believe me, she's a TV personality that keeps it on the level.
I know how it feels to be misunderstood, misquoted, to have an interview chopped up. We just want to give you a chance to kind of say things, and get your message out of your own mouth.
A huge part of the foundation of the Fox Soul streaming network.
And here we are, the little engine that could. We didn't have $2 billion behind us. And here we are, really making it happen. I think because we're so authentic.
My Fox Soul sister, Claudia Jordan, today on The Pulse.
You guys can take anything from this interview. It is that. Like, I'm always for the underdog because I am one.
Welcome to The Pulse. And we're doing something special today. I'm talking to somebody on today's show that I feel like is like the sister I've never met, because The Pulse comes on Fox Soul right before one of the many shows that Claudia Jordan hosts on Fox Soul. She's done so much in her career. We just wanted to talk to her. And she joins us. How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm claiming family because we're Fox Soul family, right?
I like it. My birthday's April 12th, so I'll tell you my size. It's cousin, so you can send me my gifts.
Oh, it's like that? We became family quick.
Real quick.
Jump right into it. We appreciate you doing that. You got like, what, 2 shows now, 3 shows now? They're keeping you busy on Fox Soul.
2, and plus I'm also the executive producer of Turned Out with T.S. Madison. I brought that show to the network, and I'm the EP on that. And T.S. Madison is transgender.
Yeah.
And to me, so much more than that. I look at T.S. Madison as an amazing talk show host that just happens to be transgender. And I feel like Fox Soul was amazing with, being open-minded and kind of breaking through that glass ceiling a bit, because you don't really see that. And I'm very proud of that show as well.
Is that part of the reason why? Because we'll talk a little bit about your long journey to get to where you are. You've done a lot. That's what I mean by the long journey. But is that part of the reason why you wanted to be a part of Fox Soul, like just expressing creativity and different ideas?
So I was working in radio in Dallas, and, terrestrial radio is very limiting. There's a whole list of words you cannot say, and, especially down in the South in the Bible Belt. So I love being edgy and expressive and honest. And not that it wasn't a good gig, because it was, but they ended my show and they canceled it. And a couple days before that, I saw Mike Hill on Fox Soul. I saw a clip and I said, I would love to do a show like that in Texas. I wish there was something like that here, a studio. Mm-hmm. And lately I've been so up on speaking things into existence and manifesting. Like, it's so powerful, your words. So I said it, and the day I got fired or my show got canceled, I hopped on a plane, went to LA and tried out for this other show. While I was there, Mike Hill said, hey, can you fill in for me for 2 days at Fox Soul? I'm like, what are the odds?
Okay.
I go there, and I'm still living in Dallas. I'm in LA. I go to the studio. I fill in for 2 days. It went really well. And at the third day, when I was about to leave, James DuBose came up to me and said, hey, I need you back here on Monday. I said, I don't live here. I live in Dallas. He said, make it happen. And we've been making it happen ever since.
It's interesting you mentioned James DuBose. I've only met him through different conversations. For people who don't know, he's running Fox Soul, general manager of Fox Soul. But that sounds very much like him. Like, I had similar conversations. Here's what we want to do. Now, what do we have to do to make it happen?
He's like, figure it out.
Yeah.
So I figured it out. And I was commuting from Dallas to LA on my dime every week and getting hotel rooms to show how dedicated I was. And then the pandemic hit, and we were forced to do it remotely. But it was a blessing in disguise, because all the shows blew up during the pandemic. We experienced, I think, 100% growth.
Okay.
I believe when I started with Fox Soul, we were at 200,000 views, and we are now over 80 million.
Oh, okay. So then believing in yourself and speaking it into existence is something that you are very happy that you did with Fox Soul.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and say at least 10 more years, 15, 20 years there, and 10xing our viewership.
Okay, look, I'm on the team now, so you keep speaking it. I'm going to go ahead and double down on it, and all that. We're going to work together to bring it into existence.
You guys can take anything from this interview. It is that. Like, I'm always for the underdog because I am one. Okay. And I think that mentality comes from being an athlete and just kind of believing in the impossible. Like, you know what? what gives me the audacity to think I could beat all these other people? I'm just gonna have to believe in myself and just say, you know what, I'm gonna figure it out.
I was reading about your early life, Junior Olympics, All-American sprinter, like talking about the athlete side of it. And then you did, pageants, did and won pageants, and then did modeling, and then did TV shows. Like that whole speaking it into existence and working for it has been your life.
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't born great at anything, and I had to really work on it. Like I was okay. Like, well, track I was pretty good right away, but again, it's a sport where there's only one winner, and you have to really, really believe in yourself. And I think that carries on to the entertainment business, because entertainment business and some sports, it's kind of like winning the lottery when you win. Like what makes you think you're gonna beat 500 other people for this one spot? I don't know. I just do.
So you did the track, you were an athlete, you did the modeling, you were in music videos and what have you. You did reality TV. How did you transition all of that into I want to do media and like have these takes, and influence kind of society? You're an influencer in media.
Since I was in eighth grade, I remember being in class and I remember other kids in my school saying, "You're funny." I'm like, I am. I didn't think so. But everybody in my family was funny. Like my grandmother had a dirty mouth. She was super hilarious and very honest and had a good heart. All my cousins were funny. So I never thought I was anything special. Like I'm really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And never in a million years thought I'd be in radio, but I was going to be a biology major in college. I used to read encyclopedias every night. I had chemistry sets. I would always go to rivers and lakes and capture turtles and bring them home and put the water under a microscope.
Okay.
I know. I went to college and I said, there was a meeting at the newspaper, this college newspaper. And I'm like, I'm going to try this. And then radio station, I'm like, I'm going to try this. And I ended up creating the first hip hop show that my school ever had, Baldwin Wallace. I changed my major to communications and broadcasting. And then kind of like one thing led to the next. I didn't think it'd be a career though. And then I ended up on a radio show with Jamie Foxx because I did a commercial with him for Coors Light. And he was like, "You're funny." And I'm like, "Wait, Jamie Foxx, I'm funny." I would tell these stories. And he put me on his satellite radio show.
Yeah.
And I told a story one day about an ex not being able to get a part in this movie. And he was like, "You can never not be here. You have to be here every day." And that was what gave birth to my radio career.
One of the things I really enjoy about doing this show and talking to people like yourself is you hear all of these stories that you never would have thought was behind these kind of journeys. And the common thread that I get from people is this: I just didn't give up. I just kept going.
I see a lot of people that have talent and they just don't have that thing that drives them. And I think to me, that's one of the most tragic things that could be. Like you have all the ingredients you need to be great, but you don't have that thing that says you can do it. Mm-hmm. I tell my friends, I'm like, I'm way less talented than a lot of these people that are out there, but I really believe in it. And I want it. So with that being said, like, I feel like the person that has that belief and is willing to work hard, like I will crisscross the country twice in like 3 days if it's to go get a check and go work or, make an appearance or speak to some kids. I just don't say no, because I'm like, there's going to be a time when that phone's going to stop ringing and no one's going to ask me anymore. So I'm going to take advantage of it while I can.
Next on The Pulse, she helped build a platform that some of the biggest names in entertainment, they enjoy calling home.
I've had Wendy Williams on my show. I've had Monique. I've had a lot of big people, and it's been pretty cool to have them, say that I feel comfortable talking to Claudia.
From reality TV to journalism and everything in between, Claudia Jordan has seen and done it all. Let's get back to the conversation. You were and are, did reality TV, did Celebrity Apprentice, did the radio show, did a lot of different things that actually I don't know if you like being called celeb, but you were the celebrity. You were the person kind of there in front of the camera. Now, in a lot of ways, you're in front of the camera, but you're interviewing and talking to people and addressing them. Mm-hmm. Has that been a challenging shift?
I didn't like it sometimes on red carpets because that's when you can easily get disrespected. Like I've been on red carpets where you're like trying to ask for an interview and someone may really treat you kind of crappy because you don't know, they might be high that night. They may have a bad attitude. Maybe their publicist is in the way. just a lot of different factors. So that puts you in a really vulnerable position, especially once you're known, because it can be humiliating where you're like, hey, such and such, can I get an interview? They're like, no. You're like, oh, everybody captures that. Then that becomes a moment. I've had Wendy Williams on my show. I've had Monique. I've had a lot of big people, and it's been pretty cool to have them, say that I feel comfortable talking to Claudia. So I already know they're coming. They know it's not a hostile environment. I'm not trying to get a gotcha moment. But like on the red carpet, it's a little more difficult. I don't know if I want to do that anymore because you can definitely get embarrassed.
When I started doing this, and it sounds like similar with you, I didn't want to do that. I felt like there was enough people who were kind of doing that. I wanted to have real conversations with people. And what's interesting about it is it seems like, and I don't know if it's Fox Soul, if it's just you, if it's hopefully the Pulse, people feel more comfortable with the I'm not walking into a gotcha moment situation. Is that why more of this is necessary, or is more of this necessary?
Listen, there's nothing wrong with the gotcha interviews because I can't lie. We all have a guilty pleasure of sometimes like, oh, did you see what was said on such and such show?
Yeah.
But I'm all for that as long as there's also balance. Like for every one of those, we need a show like The Pulse, a show like Cocktails with Queens, a show like TGIF, where we're not trying to get you and go viral. We just want to give you a chance to kind of say things, get your message out, like, out of your own mouth. I am totally understanding of how these people feel because I've been on the other side. I know how it feels to be misunderstood, misquoted, to have an interview chopped up and put the most, scandalous part of the interview in a sound clip that didn't really happen that way. So I'm really understanding to that. And I think as long as you remain like that, you're going to be okay. You're never going to have a shortage of guests. I just think most people in general feel misunderstood because we're a microwave society, which is going off for one headline, one quote, and we're letting that redefine someone's entire life. People are multi-layered and complex. I may say something today because I was tired or in a mood, and you're going to just like label me for the rest of my life with that one sentence is nuts.
But in a lot of those shows, people make those comments, but you don't even get a chance to explain it. So even that 15-30-second soundbite had context.
Absolutely. I come from the school of real journalism. I started with a newspaper called the Providence American in Rhode Island. I was an actual newspaper reporter. And my editor told me one day, if you can't prove it, we can't print it. And I think we don't go there anymore. People are getting their news from Instagram. So if your story is more than 140 characters, you're probably going to get misunderstood. So I'm glad we've been on this interview for about 14 minutes now. And it's like, you're able to get more out.
Coming up, it's clear to her that this is not just a job. Being authentic, that's a mission.
To say that Black people, like we should lose our Blackness or be deemed less Black if we exhibit class or intelligence is such an insult to us kings and queens that we claim we are, right?
Just Googling your name as I'm preparing for this interview. Well, no, because I don't think it's a bad thing, but there's certainly a bunch of things that come out, like the recent situation with Russell Wilson,
yes.
Where you stepped up and took a pretty hard line. To me, was a sensible, pretty obvious, I would hope, stance, but it was a controversial stance because you put it out there.
I will say with that story, it was surprisingly positive as far as like my feedback. I mean, the stuff that I've seen, I didn't see too many negative comments. I was actually pleasantly surprised that there was so much positivity. I think a lot of people in my same shoes, like we are sick and tired of being represented by the lowest of the low. To say that Black people, like we should lose our Blackness or be deemed less Black if we exhibit class or intelligence is such an insult to us kings and queens that we claim we are, right? Yeah. So if we're gonna say that we're kings and queens, we can't also turn around and define Blackness by your degree and level of ratchetness, your degree of level of trying to be you're willfully ignorant. I just hate that we have a purity test sometimes with Blackness and how it ties into ignorance sometimes. And that's not everybody, because there's tons.
No, absolutely.
Brilliant Black men and women that are proudly displaying their brilliance. But we also have a demographic, a part of us that is kind of glamorizing that element of us. And I think that makes more noise sometimes. If you go to Europe and they only watch reality shows, they think that we all behave like that. We're all fighting. We're all wearing these ridiculous lashes and lace front wigs. And we hate each other. We're always throwing drinks in each other's faces. We're defined by that. There's plenty of us that have summer homes in Martha's Vineyard, that go on vacations to Europe, that are well read, that go to museums and art exhibits. And we are still black as hell. Okay. We are still black, proudly black.
Do you enjoy the opportunity to do this? The opportunity to have the platform to take those hardline stances and counter some of the things? Because it's an opportunity that not a lot of people get, but certainly not a lot of people of color get, to go out there and say, no, like I'm not okay with this. And I have a platform to push back against what you're saying.
I love it. And, sometimes you feel like you're alone on an island. Like maybe if your co-hosts don't agree with you, or you may see some of the comments coming in on the live, but there's always people that, you're the people that do resonate, or what you're saying resonates with them. They'll find you, they'll reach out to you and they'll say, I'm so glad you spoke up against this. I'm so tired. I feel the same way, but I feel like I'm alone in my thinking. I'm always a champion for the underdog and for justice and for what's right. And I always think you should take I always try to put myself in the other person's shoes too. Like, well, maybe it didn't happen like that. Maybe it's not what it appears to be. Because a lot of times things are not what they appear to be.
How has your time at Fox Soul been received? I mean, you talked about the growth of Fox Soul, and I continue, because I haven't been on that long, but I continue to be wowed when I see the numbers. I go, whoa, like this thing is blowing up. How has it been received?
I'm so proud when I go to different parts of the country and I meet I've been in different parts of the world where someone has come up to me and said, oh my God, I love Cocktails with Queens. Oh my God, I love Fox Soul. Oh my God, I love TGIF. I never miss an episode. And they quote things from the show. And I realize we have a real impact. I'm over here in Ghana meeting people that are huge fans of our little show that we do on streaming network. And there's been other people who try to do the same. I think DreamWorks had Quibi. And I know that they attempted to do a streaming service, and I don't think they lasted a year. And here we are, the little engine that could. We didn't have $2 billion behind us. And here we are, really making it happen. I think because we're so authentic.
Next, how her show, Cocktails with Queens, became the true definition of keeping it real.
We're really four girlfriends having drinks, just chopping it up.
When I was thick, it wasn't in style. Y'all just getting caught up. I've been thick, okay?
Cocktails with Queens, y'all. Y'all have fun. Like I sit there sometimes.
We end up on somebody's blog almost every week. And a lot of times it's Miss Lisa Ray saying something and we're like, oh my God, Lisa Ray. Or actually all of us have been trending from that show.
Yeah, yes. I watched the show and I sit there and I'm going off and I'm watching the show and I spend half of the show with my face going, oh, okay.
Well, what other talk shows have you seen where you have four celebrities on there that have careers, that have something to lose, that have relationships with the people we're talking about?
Right.
And we're still keeping it a buck. We're still holding people accountable. We're still calling stuff out that we may not like. Like, listen, Jada Pinkett, I know her, but blah, 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 blah. I know this person, but we don't give the fake answers. And I think that's why it feels so different than other talk shows that go, they just give a politically correct response. We don't really do that. We're really four girlfriends having drinks, just chopping it up.
You know a lot of the people that you're talking about. So how has that been in terms of, you might see those same people when you go out somewhere.
We try not to, we don't ever get nasty with it. It's pretty honest, and we'll give a reason why, and I think that's what makes it kind of okay. Like it's not so much where it's like we're just dragging someone just to be dragging them.
What's next for Fox Soul? What's next for you? What's next for us, cousin? What's the next step?
That's right. Well, first of all, welcome to Fox Soul. I want to say that.
Thank you.
And, we're just going to continue growing. I have a couple show ideas I want to pitch to James. It's some different directions, not in the gossip space. Definitely more in the relationship space. That's something we can all talk about and relate to. In the financial space, I think we need more of that now more than ever.
Yeah.
So pitching more shows to the network. I want to be more behind the scenes as well. I actually really like being behind the scenes. I'm also directing and producing plays. I have a play called White Lies that I wrote, and it was my first play, and people really seem to like it. So that's going to go on the road, and also some concerts. I'm about to start promoting and putting my money up and being the concert promoter, doing that. And I got a film called Mafietta I'm starring in.
And then finally, we end with use your voice for good. How are you using your voice for good? How do you want other people to follow your leadership? What's important to you?
I like us to get away from glamorizing the bad stuff because it's interesting, or, ooh, did you see this fight on Instagram? Or did you see this negative thing? Yeah, we know negative things exist, but now more than ever, I think we need to stop being okay with sharing the positive stuff. I think we have just been in a really dark era recently. Mm-hmm. So use your voice to promote positivity. If you see a high school student that graduated at the top of his class, or a girl that ran a track meet and ran our personal best, post that, share helping someone, like the Burger King guy, the employee that worked for 27 years and he got a little trinket, little gift bag. I donated to that. I posted that, and now he's got a whole bunch of money now. We need to get back to stuff that makes us feel good.
Thank you once again for watching The Pulse with my new cousin, Claudia Jordan. I enjoyed the conversation and finding out all the different things that she's doing, the behind the scenes work, the inspirational story, and how we kind of share that idea of putting more good and positive out there on TV and on the internet. So thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can always hear the whole interview anywhere where you get your podcasts. You can get The Pulse with Bill Anderson and click subscribe. Follow me at Bill A. Fox 29. Always want your suggestions. And of course, we always leave you with this. Whenever you can, use your voice for good and have a good one.